Hey folks, this has been Yessel. It's been a long time since I've made any YouTube videos. Uh, I I'm only going to talk about mainly a few things. Um, Sometimes I kind of do this impromptu thing. As you can see, I'm still at my place I was at a few years back. I haven't made a lot of videos. I've been very busy about a lot of things. Just hitting all this stuff really quick here. Um, I've been on a dating website called LDS Mutual for a while now. And I have some thoughts about it. And I know in some videos I've made before, I really almost attack more the social end of what's going on in my church, but it's kind of also a people kind of related thing. We all have our likes and dislikes of other people. We all have sides to people we don't like or we do like or whatever. We often aren't we don't fully aware. We're not really fully aware of what's going on with other people. So, with a dating website, when all the dating website offers is text or whatever else, little stupid little notes, and you cannot video chat with people, or it's everybody's in a different spot regarding how comfortable they are with video chats with people, and that's another whole deal entirely as well. But when it's just hard to get to know people for real, and especially when you're trying to meet people outside of your geographical area, considering moving if you like them enough, there's a lot of things that dating websites do not do very well, including LDS Mutual. The question is it worth it? So, and LDS folks are pretty choosy, pretty picky in general about people. It doesn't really help. But some, yes. I'm not going to talk about specific countries. I can certainly do that. It's just hard. It's very hard. It's very, very hard. And it's hard when you are talking to someone more seriously and they like you a lot more. And then for some reason you say something or something happens where that ends. That's really hard. Really hard. It's so hard to find people that you connect with on a deeper level anyway. Associated with LDS Mutual is kind of some trains of thought I have about women that are members of my church. There always are exceptions to this. But in my experience, a lot of women that are members of my church expect odd things from guys. Things, I don't know how to put this exactly. When I say odd, what I mean is, it's not really odd. It's more of this kind of idea that a guy should have a bunch of amazing qualities and not very much or hardly any qualities that are not just the negative ones, but also the ones that are certain kinds of qualities that are harder to understand, put it that way, or they're harder to. It's not something that it's immediately attractive, or not something that's immediately understandable, easy to understand. Right? A lot of women seem to think this isn't just LDS women. This is definitely many other women in the world. They seem to think that that a guy should be just full of great qualities and nothing, either negative or eccentric. Where the same women don't realize that they themselves have certain negative qualities that they're trying to work on, hopefully, as well as many eccentric or strange or different or neutral qualities that they themselves want to keep, or that's part of their own personality. But they're not realizing that they have those, just like the guys do. And if they don't, there's the question of am I interested in someone who only says that they only have good qualities? or doesn't talk about their outer qualities so much, or whatever. Am I interested in someone like that? I don't know if I am. There's kind of two different questions here. There's the question of, do I feel like I'm kind of, well, actually, there's more than two, but do I feel like I'm spiritually where another woman is at in life? Do I feel like we're on a similar page? Do I feel like we're emotionally or development-wise, am I in a similar page as this other woman? It's also the question of, am I aware enough of people in general to understand these topics more fully and more accurately? Because all that a person can do is speak from their own lives and their own people that they've talked to more, and they've had better, more conversations with, some level. And then there's a common kind of trope or stereotype in creative writing where you try to avoid creating characters that are perfect. Is it Mary Sue? Is that what they refer to women that are perfect? I don't know what the guy's equivalent is, but I've always had mixed feelings about this, as though we should avoid creating characters that are perfect. Because there are people in real life that seem to be very perfect, but they're not. And so when you create a Mary Sue character, you're never really creating one unless they're not it's a question of how well you get to know that character. Yeah. Sorry, guys. These thoughts go so many different directions. Yeah, when any creative writer creates a character that seems to be, in kind of the everyday way, it's kind of something where they might seem perfect, but there's some things that about them that people don't know yet that maybe aren't either perfect or they're not always so universally attractive, I guess you'd say. Blonde hair, blue eyes seems to be pretty universally attractive. That's just a physical appearance thing. We're really talking about what someone's like inside. And a lot of things about people inside are not as perfect. We just don't know what they are. Like, people can very much act like they're perfect, but anyway, but it's a kind of a different discussion. We talk about very holy people. In a way, there's so few of them, and they tend to be a little bit more. If you've known someone like that, that's really, 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 really spiritual, really, really, really good. It tends to be something more where you feel a lot more joy if you're a good person around people that are very spiritual. A lot more zest for life if you are a good person. And that's a different kind of idea, a little bit, than the concept of a Mary Sue that is, it doesn't make you feel that way. So it causes me to think that this is just some kind of romanticized character that someone's talking about that is supposedly perfect, but they're not really spiritually more pure, I guess you could say. Because more spiritually pure people in real life tend to make someone feel more excited about life and more enthusiastic about life. They tend to have more spiritual strength that way. Or they have a lot of energy. And it's an energy thing. And we need to be always having more energy in life as much as possible. Okay, anyway, that was a little segue. But it's very hard to make connections on LDS Mutual, and it shouldn't be, and but it is. And so, I talked to quite a fair number of Asian women before being on LDS Mutual, before being on LDS Mutual, and then some on LDS Mutual, and I always have to try to understand what's going on without really understanding what's going on. Every single time I talk to a woman, with very few exceptions, it's always just like, I don't know what's really going on. I'm just guessing what's going on. And then when someone gets upset because you don't know what's going on, it's kind of like they want you to feel like it's something that you did that was wrong. No, 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 no. It's just this big guessing game. And a lot of people that are members of the church, my church, or a lot of people, especially a lot of people outside my church, simply, it's not a question of how much social skills we have. And it's also a life experience thing, but it's like how we've been burned by people in the past. And it's also, what's going on in our lives. And it's just a lot of stuff that causes us to behave in certain ways online. And I'm just like everyone else, but it's like I understand what these things are. I wasn't born yesterday. LDS Mutual is a very mixed experience until you get married, until you find the right person. And it's there are a lot of people and members of my church that need to grow up more, including myself in some respects. But it's a lot of people that need to. But the phrase "grow up" it can mean so many different things. There are a lot of things that I'm highly aware of that I wasn't aware of when I was in my 20s or 30s, or becoming increasingly aware of. Does that mean that I'm growing up? Yeah, but people that are still very grown up can be very upset sometimes. Can be very upset by certain things. There are so many things that I have to experience in life that are going to chip away at my whatever's wrong with me until I become the person I need to be. Hopefully, but it's like I continue to experience on some level this judgmental thing, and if women are not judgmental, if they're not whatever, then that's those people I want to talk to more. The people that are not, I don't know. That's what I'm looking for. I know what it's like to be around people that seem to have these funny expectations for me. And when I say funny, I mean different, unique. Like they're expecting me to be a certain way, and I'm not really sure what that way is. I'm just being myself. So I don't know where that's coming from. You can try to please a woman, young woman. We all try to do that as guys. And with varying effects or varying success rates. And if at some point the woman finds out other things about you or sees a side to you that she doesn't like, then she has to go, hey, do I want to keep dating you, or do I want to keep talking to you or not? And but what people have to realize is that most everyone is imperfect. Most everyone is dealing with stuff. Most everyone is trying to show their best selves on some level. And many of us are not very, I don't know. We have these different ideas about what it means to be polite or presentable or whatever, engaging, differing ideas. What some people want is just the brutal truth about every little thing over time. And I think that's one of the better ways of being, by the way. But other people seem to, I don't know. And we're all a little bit centered in our own minds and own worlds. So all this plays into LDS Mutual. All this plays into our experiences. There's a lot of women that are interested in me on LDS Mutual, but they're not often the sort of people that I want to date. And I have my preferences. Okay, there is the topic of age. Like, should middle-aged guys be interested in younger women? Yeah. So let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something. When someone's an adult and they have a certain level of maturity about themselves and what they want, adults can make their own decisions. We understand this pretty universally, unless we're like have Down syndrome or something. Every adult's capable of making their own decisions. So I just feel very strongly that we have some very erroneous ideas in the world about this whole arena. Very erroneous, very judgmental, just wrong. When two people have real chemistry, even if one of them is 40 and the other one's 20, the other one's 50, the other one's 30, the other one's 60, the other one's 40, whatever it is, whatever age difference you think is good or not good, it's not a moral matter. It's so amazing when two people that are compatible find each other enough. There's so many things that interfere with a potential relationship, and that's wrong. That is wrong. So many things. And I've never seen a lot of things like a lot of other people do. I don't expect people to have these age-related whatevers. I mean, yeah, kinda. But a lot of times it's age is deceptive. A lot of people that are my age are more like really in our minds, to be honest, dating wise, like more in our early 30s, to be honest, or maybe even younger, because of the number of experiences we've had in this area. It's the same deal with women. A lot of women have not been dating, just like a lot of guys. A lot of us are stunted in our growth because of the nature of the times these days. How can any of us be critical of each other in this regard? Life sucks right now in so many respects. It's how evil the world is. Some of us are trying to scrimp by on watching every penny. I have taxes coming up April 15th. I don't know how much money I'll have to spend on that. So the reason I'm mentioning all this is because this also factors into LDS Mutual. We have these gossip circles in my church. And I'm going after people in my church. I can certainly go after other churches as well. But there certainly is way too much gossip and way too much crap. And this is why people don't want to go to church. All the gossip and crap that goes on. No, nobody wants to be around that stuff. And it's the same deal on LDS Mutual. And what happens on LDS Mutual is when we go on there, right, we have it's how every dating site is structured. Everyone has a different structure, and we kind of follow that structure. And in all honesty, I'd rather not follow a certain structure. I hate these structures on these dating sites. It makes me livid. Dating should not be like this at all. It should be face-to-face. It should be people in our local area. But in my local area, there's not too many at all that I'm interested in. Oh my gosh. But because we tend to follow these structures, just like on YouTube, right? We get in our minds, we get used to our comments, responding to notifications. We get used to certain mores that are completely out of our control that has to do with the nature of a website. This is the nature of the life that we're living. If we're involved in online dating or YouTube, it's like we become very used to this structure that's not the structure that we would build ourselves. If people could ask, how would you really want things to be? And I would say exactly how I want things to be. And that's another subject for another video. But no, I don't. YouTube never asked me. They've never asked me about my personal preferences about how I wanted that site to be. Or any other site, Rumble, Twitch, whatever. Nobody ever asks me that stuff. At least on YouTube hasn't. Twitter never did. I don't use Twitter. It's a lot of useless stuff. I don't know. But so you follow the structure of the site, dating site, and you see your likes. You try to look at new people, and you're kind of forced to go swiping up or down based on each person that you come across. You can't really avoid that unless you stop looking at the site on your phone, or like you take it off and then you open it back up again, and hopefully it's a different person. But there are many times when we don't want to go up or down with a person. We don't want to swipe up or down on a person. We go, oh, that person looks nice. That person looks a little bit homely, but I don't know if I'm interested. But I don't want to say I'm not interested. So a lot of people say I'm not interested if it's not something like I'm dying to meet that person, or they're the hottest woman I've ever seen in my entire life. If it's not that kind of intense thing, then they're going to swipe down on a person. But everybody's different that way, I would think. Some people swipe up on a lot of people. What often happens in my case is I still have a thing for a lot of Asian women. But not just Asian women. White, Hispanic, all kinds too. But, and so For some reason, a lot of black women seem to be interested in me, but I just seem to not be generally interested in them. But I've wondered if it's racist, and it goes beyond racism. It's not racism. It's something else, and people don't realize what that is yet. But there are some black women that I'm sure are attractive, and yeah, they are attractive. But I just tend not to be as attracted to black women in general. But many other kinds of women, yes, Indian, Hispanic, Asian, European, whatever. So people can think what they want, and I'm just being very honest there. And there are some black women that I would be interested in, sure, yeah. But it's kind of like, but it's some of my beef with LDS Mutual so far have been just how it's structured. It doesn't seem organic enough. It doesn't seem, I don't know. And it's some women on there are very painfully shy, others are not. And some seem to kind of toe the line regarding the usual things that LDS women that are often white, but not always white, tend to talk about right off the bat. Some are very cheerful, some of, there's all the usual questions that you can expect in that regard. We know what they are if we're members of the church, but even if we're Christian or if we have LDS friends, we know what those kinds of questions are. And let's call them for what it is. It's just, it's small talk. It's nice stuff. It's pleasant, but it should never be required. It should never be expected. The social more thing is ridiculous. It's stupid. I don't like spending time with people that insist on social mores all the time. What's the point of that? Is it like a security blanket? Some of you guys that know me have watched my videos in the past know I have mild Asperger's, and there's some people say we have a certain comfort zone that we tend to insist on, and that's more the case if you have something like that more severely. If it's more of a severe condition, then yes. If you only have it mildly, no. We can be very flexible like other people, but it's a question of the nature of that flexibility. Some things that are more upsetting or unsettling can be more upsetting for Asperger's folks that have it mildly. Anyway, depends on what it is we're talking about. So anyway, I wanted to talk about LDS Mutual, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. But I know there's hope. But I think women often, I don't know. I think that it's hard to say how you're really feeling online if you're not used to it. It's always hard because you don't, it's like it's not a face-to-face thing, and all kinds of other things like that, and it's just awkward, and but it's less awkward than seeing someone face to face, but you're kind of compelled to feel kind of forced to talk to someone, like going to some camp out with a bunch of people, they're single are there, and you're kind of feeling obligated to talk to them. That can be even more awkward. I know what that's like. And the less that someone's dating, and the busier that someone gets in their lives, the harder it can be sometimes just to go about that whole process. There's so many things in general life that just need to overhaul. They just need to overhaul. And a lot of people don't realize what's really going on with other people, right? They don't. You can make assumptions safely, just so long as they're not. The more that the assumption is kind of negative, the more you should really kind of rethink that. Especially if a person that you're having a negative assumption about is wanting to talk to you more, and they're trying to open it up more to you. Some people really seem to lack the most basic social skills that way. But who can blame them with the dating climate we have, especially in the United States, especially people that are always inferring, like, do I know you? How do we know each other? Because the reason why people say that is because of all the crap that you get on Facebook, all the scammers and stuff. But it's really hard to meet people. Oh gosh. In an LDS Mutual, it's often, you would think that we'd be friendlier to each other, as being all Mormon members of the church, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.